From this Bindu comes everything. And from this everything merges back in that Bindu. Now, what is a mantra? A mantra is that thought and that vibration of the universe which, when chanted with awareness, removes all our blocked karma, removes all our negativity. Let us in detail understand the iconography of Om. How do we chant it? And what happens when you have understood the crux and you have merged with that Om. This mantra is one of the most powerful mantras, and it is said in a text that this is the first vibration. You know what is a vibration? When that formless takes the form, the first form is the sound, and this is the highest sound that all the rishis, all the yogis in the highest state of meditation and trance have experienced. And the mantra is Om. Just as a frog jumps from one point to another point, chanting this mantra enables a sadhak to experience the different states of consciousness, and also this mantra enables us to reach the highest. Now, what is a mantra? A mantra is a tool which helps us to control the mind and experience the gift of life, which is a birthright, and that is the self. To give you an example, a mantra is like a sound capsule. Imagine that you have a major headache and you're feeling very low. What we do in modern times, the first thing is run to the doctor and pop in a medicine. Similarly, a mantra is that thought and that vibration of the universe which, when chanted with awareness, removes all our blocked karma, removes all our negativity, creates a kavacham, and that is the experience of life, and that is the self itself. In today's video, we'll discuss the mantra Om, its symbol, its meaning, how to chant it, and what happens when a sadhak has chanted and experienced the essence of Om. Whatever we are referring in this video is taken from the Mandukya Upanishad. References are given from Bhagavad Gita, from Tantra, and from various schools of how they chant Om. The most important reference that we are going to use is from the Mandukya Upanishad. Manduk means a frog. What is the meaning of the word Upanishad? Upanishad literally means knowledge given sitting side by side. When a guru gives knowledge to the disciple, and the disciple in the presence of guru is absorbing the knowledge and experiencing the knowledge. Mandukam. Manduk means a frog. And as I mentioned earlier, how a frog jumps, when we chant Om, we jump into different states of consciousness. It is said that this entire Upanishad is one of the most famous Upanishad. It has only 12 mantras, and it was revealed to the Rishi Varuna when he had taken a form of a frog. But in my understanding, the most simple understanding of the Frog Upanishad is, with that 12 mantras, is remember that how it jumps, it will skip few points and jump to another point. When we chant Om, we can jump into different states of consciousness, that is the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, and experience the highest, that is the self. Let us in detail understand the iconography of Om and what is the meaning of each akshara. It becomes the bija mantra, and how we can transcend everything. As I mentioned, when we chant Om, the sadhak experiences the three states of awareness and consciousness, and also goes beyond. The first is the waking state, which is known as Jagrat Avastha. The second is the dream state, which is Swapna Avastha. And the third is the deep sleep, which is known as Shushupti. When we chant Om, we can experience the fourth state, which is the state of being, and we are inherited by that state, and that is known as Turiya. Let us in detail understand the iconography of Om. How do we chant it, and what happens when you have understood the crux and you have merged with that Om. But before going in detail, there should be few understanding and concepts that should be very clear so that we can understand the crux of this mantra. Pure consciousness in the Upanishad is known as Brahman. It is not Brahmin or Brahman that has different meaning. It is Brahman. It means that everything in this world is pure consciousness, and that is the goal of life, which is equivalent to Turiya. When I talk about Maya, In the Upanishad, Maya is known as illusion. A sadhak has to go beyond this illusion to experience that Brahman. And when I use the word Atman, Atman is that which is within us. You call it a part of that consciousness, you call it consciousness, you call it energy, but because of that, everything is operating. Of course, Atman, Brahman, Maya is the crux of Advaita Vedanta, but as we mature in our YouTube videos, we'll understand Atman and Brahman also. But at the moment, be aware of these three important words. Brahman is pure consciousness, which is operating in everything, which is the closest to Turiya, and which is Turiya. In fact, when I use the word Turiya and Brahman, I'm not doing justice. It is a state of Sat Chit Anand. When I use the term Maya again, remember it is illusion. The entire chanting of this mantra is to take us beyond that Maya, and Atman is within us. Now, understanding the iconography of Om, it is the first mantras that come into existence. In fact, in Tantra or in any Upanishad, when we chant any mantra, might be Om Namah Shivaya, Om Gang Ganpate Namah, we do the Uchcharan and then we chant the mantra. When I chant Om, it is the entire experience of life in totality. It consists of past, present, future. It consists of all the lokas. It consists of all the koshas. It is beyond kleshas. It is that experience and that totality which is our birthright, and it is a way we can go beyond this Maya. When I say the iconography of Om, it looks like this. Now, generally when you look at the word Om, few places you will find OM and few places you will find AUM. Let us clear this doubt. In Sanskrit, when A and U comes together, Sandhi, it becomes O. So many people chant OM, but in the text or when you pick up the Upanishad, it is clearly mentioned that Om is chanted by using these three letters, that is AUM, also known as Akara, Ukara, Makara. And when you look at the iconography of Om, the root is A, the second curve that comes is U, the top curve that comes is M, and when you see the Chandra and Bindu, as I mentioned earlier, the Chandra, the line stands for Maya and the Bindu stands for Turiya. Let us in detail understand one by one, which is mentioned in the Upanishad, and also learn that the Akara in Om, which is at the root. Now, the Mandukya Upanishad has beautifully given that the Akara has 7 limbs and 19 mouths. What is the meaning of this? It says that an individual has 7 limbs and 19 mouths. Please understand this beautiful esoteric meanings makes us realize that how little we know and how much the rishis have given us. The 7 limbs, it stands for the head, eyes, breath, the upper part of the body, kidney, fat, and the mouth. And the 19 mouths, they stand for the 5 karma indriyas, the 5 jnana indriyas, the 5 pancha pranas. Now, they are known as vayus also. We think that we only inhale and exhale and that is a breath. No, we have the pancha vayus, that is pran, apan, saman, udar and vyan. And that becomes 15, and the last 4 elements are manas, buddhi, ahankar and chitta. The A, Akara, resonates this physical reality and all the senses that we are using to associate with this world. Have you realized when you chant Om, before uttering Om, we open our mouth. It stands for the gross sphere of existence. It is this activity which an individual or a sadhak has been completely interacting with this world of Maya or this so-called reality where everything constantly changes. The Akara sphere that when we chant Om is completely coming under space, time and causation. It is the time when a sadhak experiences the laws of karma, the laws of dharma. Either he can bind himself to this reality or also move higher. It is the grossest form of experience where we are indulged in experiences, maybe low experiences like sex, food, sleep, or high experiences of going beyond. Maybe we are entangled in our emotions and at the same time where we can experience peace if we become aware of ourselves. Now when we chant Om in Akara, we chanted, okay, have you realized that whenever we talk, it is said that Om itself is the root cause of all languages, is the root cause of all sounds, because whenever we chant, we use our upper palate, we use our tongue, we lose our lower palate also. The entire muscles are used, but when we chant Om, that is Akara, Ukara, Makara, all the pharynx, the larynx and all the muscles are utilized, and from this Om, all the sounds come into existence. When I talk about Akara, it simply stands for the awake state, the Jagrat Avastha, and also known as the walking state or the wakeful state, in which all the senses are engrossed and you are completely binded and bounded by this reality, where you're using all your sense, you're enjoying all your senses, and in this avastha, if you realize you're not constantly awake, you also, when you go to sleep, you go in your dreams, and that is Ukara. Let us understand Ukara. This line here, which comes after the base and the root, is known as Ukara. Again in the Upanishad, they have described it the same way as they have described Akara. This is an individual having that 7 limbs and that 19 mouths. But in this case, they have clearly mentioned the ego here has mental images and mental notions in the mind. The Ukara stands for the Swapna Avastha, that is the dream state. Have you realized that in our dreams, when we are dreaming, all of a sudden, first thing is we are placed in a situation. Think about it very, very, I don't know. Secondly, I'm pausing because you don't even remember our dreams at times. You are just placed in a situation. Secondly, if you have tried looking at yourself, we don't know how we look in our dreams. It is all the images, all the impressions, all the sanskaras that I mentioned, the chitta, have been stored and captured, and then it slowly releases in our dreams, and that is another state of consciousness or awareness. You know what happens in a dream? Many people also realize that we are falling in a dream, and if we are dreaming, we also move physically. For example, if someone is choking you in a dream, you will feel that it is again a state of awareness where the ego has mental images. It is like a movie playing, and when you wake up, again you wake up in the Jagrat Avastha. Now when I chant the Ukara, that is you in the Om, it comes from here. It is more subtle. And the beauty is when you become more aware, you will realize that the vibrations are coming from here going up. The Ukara is a state where we are dreaming. But at this point of time, either we wake up in the Jagrat Avastha, or also we can experience another state of consciousness, that is the Makara, and that is deep sleep. Let us understand Makara. This curve that goes above is known as Makara. When I chant again Makara, everything is closed. There is no use of anything. There's a sound of humming. And this is described as deep sleep, Sushupta. It is also said that it is very closest to bliss. You know what is a bliss? A bliss, have you experienced a state where you have no job, you have no money, where things are very so-called bad in your life, but at the same time you're peaceful, you're unaffected, and there is a certain kind of not happiness. Happiness comes with duality. There's a certain kind of satisfaction that you're experiencing. It is not associated with the external world, but internally you're completely in balance. We also experience bliss, but something very strange about Makara, this state of consciousness, is that in this state we have completely lost our awareness. Have you experienced that time? You're very, very tired. You're famished completely. You don't know what is happening. At the end of the day, you come home and you go to sleep. You have accomplished such a state of deep sleep that you have slept for 10 hours. But when you wake up, you take time to realize that where you are. It takes time to register that you have slept for such a long time. You may feel that you have slept only for hours or minutes, but it has been 10 hours. We lose our identity completely. Deep sleep, though it is said that it's close to bliss, but in my opinion, it is a state of complete unawareness. Bliss is experienced, but we also become unaware. When we chant Makar, we close everything and the sound comes as that means you have gone into a state where everything has dissolved. Now when we understand Om, that is Akara, Ukara and Makara, the Akara and the Makara come under the law of karma, where we are binded by space, time and causation. The Makara that you see is a complete state of unawareness, though we call it bliss also. But the line that you see above is Maya. Maya is illusion according to Upanishad. And the Bindu that we see here is the state of Turiya, and that is our birthright, or that is what we need to experience. Now, coming back to Maya, also understanding what Atman is. But before we get into Maya, Atman is within us. It is said that Atman enjoys all the three states. It is a witness, it watches and it experiences in this reality. Please understand, in this world of Maya, the Atman experiences awake state, dream state, deep sleep state and also Maya. But when you understand from a very philosophical point of view, the Atman is the witness and Atman and Turiya are the same. Let us understand what is Maya. Now when we start chanting Om with complete awareness, we go above all the three states of consciousness. That is waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. We know what Maya is. Maya is that ignorance, and then there is a union of Atman and Turiya. That is Brahman. Now if I try my best to explain Brahman, I will not do justice. Even in the Upanishad it is said, in order to express it, we are calling it Brahman. Imagine you experiencing a state where there is no time, where there is no day, no night. Even words or tongue is not required to express it. Even time can't do justice to it. There is no Nama, there is no Rupa. There is. The Rishis have called Brahman as Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat is that reality. Chit is consciousness and Anand is bliss. It is that state where we just experience the way it is. Ramana Maharishi, the great, has always asked every sadhak to do only one sadhana. Keep on asking yourself, who am I? I'm not this awake state, I'm not this dream state, I'm not this deep sleep state. Who am I? I am Sat, Chit, Anand. But again the question will come, I am experiencing this. I am this body. Why should I not experience it? But here in the Upanishad when we chant Om, it is making us realize what is reality. Reality is that which never changes. If you are in the dream state, you will go to sleep. If you are dreaming, you will either wake up and go in deep sleep. If you are in deep sleep, one day you will wake up. Everything that is changing is this line above, that is Maya. But the true crux and the essence of Om, which is within us, and the first thought and the vibration of the cosmos that has come and that can take us there, is this Bindu here. From this Bindu comes everything. And from this everything, everything merges back in that Bindu. And that is the essence of Om. Om is also known as Pranav. It is the Pranav mantra. What is the meaning of Pranav? Pranav comes from the root word pra and navam. Pra stands for Prakriti And this nature is known as Prakriti. Prakriti is made up of three gunas, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Navam means a boat. So when I use the word Pranav, the mantra literally means it is a beautiful boat that will take you beautifully through this existence of life, through this material world into the transcendental world. Pranav mantra also means that mantra which can give you liberation. So Om is the Pranav mantra. It stands for everything. The breath, the sun, the stars, the moon. It is that essence of life. When you chant it with awareness, which will get you back to your original state of existence, that is the Atman and the Brahman. This is how we chant Om. There are three ways to chant Om. First is for beginners, second is for intermediate, and the last is for advanced sadhaks. How do we chant Om? Sit in a comfortable posture. There is a basic way of sitting. We always use a cushion, we use an asana, we adopt the Gyan Mudra. When a basic person or a person who's starting their sadhana for the first time, Om should be chanted with complete awareness. You should be very aware of the body parts, how the prana is going up, and the ratio in which we chant is 1:1:2. That means Akara for 3 seconds, Ukara for 3 seconds, and Makara for 6 seconds. 1:1:2 ratio. You can change the seconds according to your own capacity. So, for a beginner, when I chant Om, I will be aware that the A comes from the navel, the U comes from the chest, and the Ma comes from the throat and above. This is one way of chanting for a beginner. The second way of chanting is the same technique with 1:1:2, but we focus here, here, and here. That is the throat, the mouth, and the crown. In the first one, we focus towards the navel, then the prana going towards the chest, and then coming to the crown. In the second, we focus towards the throat, mouth, and the crown. The method is the same, just the awareness changes. But look how I'm chanting. Listen to Om. It is not Om, but it is chanted with awareness. So let us be comfortable. I'll be chanting Om 3 times. Just be aware how I'm chanting and how you should chant Om. We inhale. Look at the lip movement first and then look at the hand. First, when you chant Om, it should be Om. What I'm doing when I'm starting Om, my lips are like this. Then when I'm turning, it comes from here. And when I do Makara, it comes from here. So when I chant Om, it is coming from the navel with that lips. When I'm doing Oo, it changes and I feel the vibration here. And when I'm chanting the Makara, it comes from the crown. So I'll be chanting Om again. Be aware. Om. The second way of chanting, again, is when I'm feeling the vibrations here, here, and here. The same method, but the awareness inside is here, here, and here. The second way to chant Om is when you have mastered this, is where we take the Moola Bandha, and this is how we do it. Of course, it comes to an intermediate, and the fact that you know what a Moola Bandha is and how to take a Moola Bandha, you have advanced. Moola Bandha is taken like this. You take the Moola Bandha, you inhale, and in that one breath, you chant Akara, Ukara, and Makara together. So I'm taking the Moola Bandha. Moola Bandha means contraction of your anus. It comes in higher sadhanas, and in fact, when you say that I've moved into a higher sadhana, the first step is take the Mula Bandha. So we take the Mula Bandha, we inhale. Now, depending upon the guidance of your guru, or depending upon how long you're practicing, you keep the Mula Bandha on, and then you can do a number of chants or multiple of malas. That is up to you, but it should be done only under guidance. Otherwise, there will be physical problem because we contract and you regulate your breath a lot. The third is the most beautiful one. It is where you actually experience Nad and your entire body starts vibrating because it becomes pure vibrations. Have you used or heard the instrument called didgeridoo? It is a long wooden pipe, and the musician who's using just blows and the entire vibration comes and we get sound. Similarly, your entire spine, this part of the body becomes a didgeridoo. And when you chant this Om, you're not using your glottis, you're not using your palate, you're not using anything. The sound comes directly from the navel. I don't know in this open environment can you hear or listen to this sound, but it is a very deep sound and it just resonates. This is how we chant it. It's a very beautiful experience. It is like a naad which is resonating and vibrating in your body. These are the 3 steps how a sadhak experiences Om. In fact, in the Hatha Pradipika, it is clearly mentioned. Samadhi is where a sadhak starts experiencing sounds in the body and we call it naad. There are crores of sounds in the body. It starts from the external sounds of conch, flowing, river, instruments, violin, to the subtlest sound of Om, which is experienced by the sadhak. That is the highest vibration. To understand that formless, one has to experience form. And the form of that formless is this mantra, Om. The sound is the mantra. And you experience that sound within you in the form of Naad. And that is this vibration going up, crossing through all your chakras, releasing all your karmas, all that is not required, purifying your nadis. And the prana that we are talking about, the Panchavayus, all gets channelized in the Sushumna. And the essence of life is experienced when this Sahasrara chakra, that is Om, goes nameless, formless, and you merge in the Brahman. Just a mantra can change our life completely when we have the right knowledge, right awareness, and the right technique to practice it. Do it with awareness because one mantra can change our life. Hari Om Tat Sat.